How's it going, guys? It is Blake here from theavidentries.com, I suppose now known as thephantompages.com, is sort of the main website that I'm writing on these days. I'm finally back today after a very long hiatus period here on this channel. It's been a really weird past year since I made the Year of the Dark announcement video back in, it had to have been sometime around this time last year. As you can see, throughout that entire duration, nothing much has really happened here on this channel. I don't really know who follows this channel all too closely. I honestly don't really pay very much attention to it, but if you have been awaiting new content since I posted that video, I want to first off apologize. It's been a very sort of gray area period in terms of lack of direction for exactly how and where I wanted to take this channel. I know obviously in the video update that I made last year, there were a lot of things I wanted to do that were more on the writing side that I had in store, as well as continuing these readings, which I guess to try and get back into the groove of doing things, I want to first and foremost continue the readings that I promised I would finish, which are the Kybalion, which I'm going to be continuing today, as well as Teal Swan's completion, or no, yes, it's the completion process book, which will probably be the last book that I do here on this channel from Teal Swan. Nothing against Teal Swan personally, there's just, I just really haven't been all too much into her teachings as of lately. Not really saying that her stuff doesn't really click with me anymore, but I just don't really feel called to listen to her stuff, listen to her teachings, her videos, and all that often. And I think the other two, I think she's released 2 new books since the completion process, and those haven't really called to me in any way, at all. So I probably won't be reading those here on the channel. But if you guys, I've noticed a lot of people actually have been checking out the past readings that I've done for Shadows Before Dawn, I think it was, and I think I did her first book as well, Sculptor in the Sky. I believe I did that on this channel. So if you've been looking at those videos, if you've been checking those out, if you've been enjoying those, thanks for checking those out, I appreciate it. But from here on out, we're going to be continuing and finishing the Kybalion as well as the completion process. So those are the 2 readings that you can look forward to being uploaded here on the channel, along with some discussions, hopefully. One thing I want to do differently this time around is normally I like to try and pick out some things that stuck out to me with each and every reading that I do. I've had a hard time sort of keeping track of all the various things that sort of stick out to me while I'm reading, and I brought a great friend, a best friend with me today, highlighter. It's very important when it comes to just highlighting things that I really don't like to quote-unquote ruin my books this way, but I feel like this is probably the best way for me to sort of keep track. It's just paper. It's just paper. I just feel like this is one of the best ways for me to keep track of things that stick out to me. So what I'm going to be doing from here on out in all of these readings is we're going to keep going through it as normal, trying to read as flawlessly as I possibly can. And if something sticks out to me, something that I feel like I can touch on at the end of said chapter or said section, I will highlight it, and we will go over it real quickly at the end, and I'll talk about why it stuck out to me and whatnot. So anyway, we're going to be continuing the Kybalion today with chapter 4, entitled The All. So yeah, let me get a quick sip of my tea. And hopefully, I know my setup is a little bit different than it was last time. The last time I've done a reading. Hopefully, you could sit back and relax and hopefully get something out of this. So I'm gonna do this without my glasses today, and hopefully this works out well. So chapter 4, The All. Substance means that which underlies all outward manifestations, the essence, the essential reality, the thing in itself, etc. Substantial means actually existing, being the essential element, being real, etc. Reality means the state of being real, true, enduring, valid, fixed, permanent, actual, etc. Under and behind all outward appearances or manifestations, there must always be a substantial reality. This is the law. Man, considering the universe, of which he is a unit, sees nothing but change in matter, forces, and mental states. He sees that nothing really is, but that everything is becoming and changing. Nothing stands still everything. Nothing stands still everything is being born, growing, dying, the very instant a thing reaches its height. It begins to decline. The law of rhythm is in constant operation. There is no reality, enduring quality, fixity, or substantiality in anything. Nothing is permanent but change. Nothing is permanent but change. I don't really need to highlight that, but that does stick out to me a little bit. Oh boy, how am I going to do this? He sees all things evolving from other things and resolving into other things, constant action and reaction, inflow and outflow, building up and tearing down, creation and destruction, birth, growth, and death. Nothing endures but change. And if he be a thinking man, he realizes that all these changing things must be but outward appearances or manifestations of some underlying power, some substantial reality. All thinkers in all lands and all times have assumed the necessity for postulating the existence of this substantial reality. All philosophies worthy of the name have been based upon this thought. Men have given to this substantial reality many names. Some have called it by the term of deity. Let me go back and read that. Men have given to this substantial reality many names. Some have called it by the term of deity under many titles. Others have called it the infinite and eternal. Energy. Others have tried to call it matter, but all have acknowledged its existence. It is self-evident. It needs no argument. In these lessons, we have followed the example of some of the world's greatest thinkers, both ancient and modern, the Hermetic masters, and have called this underlying power, the substantial reality, by the Hermetic name of the All, which term we consider the most comprehensive of the many terms applied by man to that which transcends names and terms. We accept to teach the view of the great Hermetic thinkers of all times, as well as those illumined souls who have reached higher planes of being, both of whom assert that the inner nature of the All is unknowable. This must be so, for not by the All itself can comprehend its own nature and being. The Hermeticists believe and teach that the All in itself is and must ever be unknowable. They regard all the theories, guesses, and speculations of all the theologians and metaphysicians regarding the inner nature of the All as but the childish efforts of mortal minds to grasp the secret of the infinite. Such efforts have always failed and will always fail. From the very nature of the task, one pursuing such inquiries travels around and around in the labyrinth of thought until he is lost to all the sane reasoning, action, or conduct, and is utterly unfitted for the work of life. Let me read that again. One pursuing such inquiries travels around and around in the labyrinth of thought until he is lost to all sane until he is lost to all sane reasoning, action, or conduct, and is utterly unfitted for the work of life. He is like the squirrel which frantically runs around and around the circling treadmill wheel of his cage, traveling ever and yet reaching nowhere, at the end a prisoner still. And standing just where he started. Maybe not something I would touch on in particular, but I will highlight that for later anyway. Trying to do this with one hand is almost impossible. And still more presumptuous are those who attempt to ascribe to the all the personality, qualities, properties, characteristics, and attributes of themselves, ascribing to the all the human emotions, feelings, and characteristics, even down to the pettiest qualities of mankind, such as jealousy, susceptibility to flattery and praise, desire for offerings and worship, and all the other survivals from the days of the childhood of the race. Such ideas are not worthy of grown men and women, and are rapidly being discarded. At this point, it may be proper for me to state that we make a distinction between religion and theology, between philosophy and metaphysics. Religion, to us, means that I think, is that it's supposed to be institutional, but it says means that intuitional realization of the existence of the all and one's relationship to it, while theology means the attempts of men to ascribe personality, qualities, and characteristics to it, their theories regarding its affairs, will, desires, plans, and designs, and their assumption of the office of middlemen between the all and the people. Philosophy, to us, means the inquiry after knowledge of things knowable and thinkable, while metaphysics means the attempt to carry the inquiry over and beyond the boundaries and into regions unknowable and unthinkable, and with the same tendency as that of theology. And consequently, both religion and philosophy mean to us things having roots in reality, while theology and metaphysics seem like broken reeds, rooted in the quicksands of ignorance, and affording naught but the most insecure support for the mind or soul of man. We do not insist upon our students accepting these definitions. We mention them merely to show our position. At any rate, you shall hear very little about theology and metaphysics in these lessons. Okay, interesting. But while the essential nature of the all is unknowable, there are certain truths connected within its existence which the human mind finds itself compelled to accept, and an examination of these reports form a proper subject of inquiry, particularly as they agree with the reports of the illumined on higher planes. And to this inquiry we now invite you. That which is the fundamental truth, the substantial reality, is beyond true naming, but the wise men call it the all. In its essence, the all is unknowable, but the report of reason must be hospitably received and treated with respect. All of these are end quote the Kybalion. The human reason, whose reports we must accept so long as we think at all, informs us as follows regarding the all, and that without attempting to remove the veil of the unknowable. 1. The all must be all that really is. There can be nothing existing outside the all, else the all would not be the all. 2. The all must be infinite, for there is nothing else to define, confine, bound, limit, or restrict. The all must be infinite in time or eternal. It must have always continuously existed, for there is nothing else to have ever created it, and something can never evolve from nothing. And if it had ever not been, even for a moment, it would not be now. It must continuously exist forever, for there is nothing to destroy it, and it can never not be, even for a moment, because something can never become nothing. It must be infinite in space. It must be everywhere, for there is no place outside of the all. It cannot be otherwise. It cannot be otherwise than continuous in space without break, cessation, separation, or interruption, for there is nothing to break, separate, or interrupt in its continuity, and nothing with which to fill in the gaps. It must be infinite in power or absolute, for there is nothing to limit, restrict, restrain, confine, disturb, or condition it. It is subject to no other power, for there is no other power. The all must be immutable, or not subject to change in its real nature, for there is nothing to work changes upon it, for there is nothing to work changes upon it, nothing into which it could change, nor form which it could have changed. It cannot be added to nor subtracted from, increased nor diminished, nor become greater or lesser in any respect whatsoever. It must have always been and must always remain just what it is now. I'm going to highlight this part because there is something that comes to mind. Part of me just wants to. I'm just going to circle this entire paragraph, actually. Matter of fact, for that, I'll just do a line. This is so messy. Anyway, the all being infinite, absolute, eternal, and unchangeable, it must follow that anything finite, changeable, fleeting, and conditioned cannot be the all, and there is nothing outside of the all. In reality, then, any and all such finite things must be nothing in reality. Any and all such finite things must be nothing in reality. Now, do not become befogged nor frightened. We are not trying to lead you into the Christian Science field under cover of Hermetic philosophy. There is a reconciliation of this apparently contradictory state of affairs. Be patient, we will reach it in time. We see around us that which is called matter, which forms the physical foundation for all forms. Is the all merely matter? Not at all. Matter cannot manifest life or mind, and as life and mind are manifested in the universe, the all cannot be matter, for nothing rises higher than its own source. Nothing is ever manifested in an effect that it is not in the cause. Nothing is evolved as a consequent that is not involved as an, how do we say this? Antecedent? I think. I'm not quite sure. And the modern science informs us that there is really no energy or force. I skipped a line. And the modern science informs us that there is really no such thing as matter. That what we call matter is merely interrupted energy or force. That is, energy or force at a low rate of vibration. As a recent writer has said, matter has melted into mystery. Even material science has abandoned the theory of matter and now rests on the basis of energy. Interesting. Then is the all mere energy or force? Not energy or force as the materialists use the terms, for their energy and force are blind, mechanical things devoid of life or mind. Life and mind can never evolve from blind energy or force. For the reason given a moment ago, nothing can rise higher than its source. Nothing is evolved Nothing is evolved unless it is involved. Nothing manifests in the effect unless it is the cause. And so the all cannot be mere energy or force, for if it were, then there would be no such things as life and mind in existence. And we know better than that, for we are alive and using mind to consider this very question. And so are those who claim that energy or force is everything. What is there then higher than matter or energy that we know to be existent in the universe? Life and mind. Life and mind in all their varying degrees of unfoldment. Then, you ask, do you mean to tell us that the all is life and mind? Yes and no, is our answer. If you mean life and mind as we poor petty mortals know them, we say no. The all is not that. But what kind of life and mind do you mean, you ask? The answer is living mind. As far above that which mortals know by those words, as life and mind are higher than mechanical forces or matter. Infinite living mind as compared to finite life and mind. We mean that which illumined souls mean when they reverently pronounce the word spirit. The all is infinite living mind. The illumined call it spirit. And that's going to do it for chapter 4. Quite a bit to take in there. Yeah. There are a couple things that I highlighted, though I don't really feel like they would, I don't really feel like they serve all that much importance. Just little small things that stuck out to me. If perhaps this entire chapter went over your head, this chapter is basically sort of giving you an introduction to what most people consider to be God, the all, the source, and just basically trying to get you to at least try and fathom the grand scope of exactly what the all, what the source is. It's a lot to take in, and I will say that this paragraph pretty much sums up. I can go back a little bit actually and go over again some things that jumped out to me. Some of the smaller things first. So, that nothing is permanent but change. I suppose it's probably not really as profound as it sounds, because when you think about it on a grander scale, everything is always in flux, everything is always changing. There's really no such thing as a stasis in reality. Even if we're thinking about something in terms of, like, even if we're thinking about something really just down here, down to earth, while with our visual eyes, things may look like they're still, things may look like they are unchanging. Even if we have to look at things from just the crazy up close molecular level, things are always changing. Nothing is really truly in stasis. And it's I don't even know, is it an oxymoron? I can't remember the word for it. But nothing is permanent, and permanent is a word that you would usually use for something that is solidified, that is always there, that is unchanging. But it's just funny how they said nothing is permanent but change. Nothing is solidified but change itself. That is, change is the constant. I just thought that was funny how they worded it. But I like that. I like that a lot. Another thing that I did underline and that stuck out to me is, and if he be a thinking man, He realizes that all of these changing things must be outward appearances or manifestations for some underlying power, some substantial reality. And if he be a thinking man, he realizes that all of these changing things must be outward appearances or manifestations of some underlying powers, some substantial reality. Not really too much I want to touch on for that one. So this is one that at a lot of times, even recently, as I've been sort of diving back into, really heavily diving back into just everything pertaining to, I guess you could say, spirituality, metaphysics, occult teachings and whatnot. This is one thing that kind of stuck out to me, is because this is definitely how I've been feeling a lot at times. And this was in context to a man sort of in pursuit of knowledge of, I suppose, trying to determine exactly what the all is, or trying to trying to get a set in stone picture of exactly what it is. It says he is like the squirrel which frantically runs around and around the circling treadmill wheel of his cage, traveling ever and yet reaching nowhere. At the end, a prisoner still, and standing just where he started. So that's definitely how it feels sometimes, when you're diving into all of this stuff. Sometimes, I mean, you just take in so much information, and despite taking in so much information, sometimes you just end up feeling like you've literally known nothing, or you literally learned nothing, and you just basically have gone nowhere. There is a particular thing I've been diving quite a bit into lately, which I do plan on making a separate video for. It won't be a reading, it'll be a separate sort of discussion, sort of overview video that I've been diving into lately, and it's really it has really had me feeling like that, for sure. And then the last thing I'm going to touch on was this again. So this was the sort of third point that they were making of the all, and the paragraph says, the all must be immutable, or not subject to change in its real nature, for there is nothing to work changes upon it, nothing into which it could change, nor from which it could have changed. It cannot be added to, nor subtracted from, increased, nor diminished, nor become greater or lesser in any respect whatsoever. It must have always been and must always remain just what it is now, the all. There has never, is not, I don't know why they worded it like this. There has never, there has never been, is not now, and never will be anything else which it can change. So this sort of leads me to the idea that or whoever was writing this, or the teachers that were writing this, had the idea that essentially all that has been will forever be, and all that will be has always been forever, is sort of the same sort of thing that I'm taking from this. The reason why this stuck out to me is because when it comes to the discussion of source, most people, I guess you could say, in the spiritual sphere will probably describe like the overall end game sort of energy as source. A lot of people will, I think a good origin for us and us being here in the spiritual sphere is, I think most agree that it would be a little bit of the opposite of this, where people say that source wanted to experience itself, sort of gave rise to a desire to experience itself through itself, and in a way splintered splintered infinitely in a sense, which is, I mean, it's just like, how does that even work if it's already, I mean, when you think infinitely, it's, I guess you can argue that it's still the same, but it giving rise to this desire, so to speak, or so they say, kind of goes against this a little bit in that, in the sense that it hasn't always been the same. It does give rise to desires. That's just something that stuck out to me because reading this, and perhaps I'm interpreting it wrong, which is completely fine if I am. Anybody can correct me, but from the way that I'm interpreting this, it leads me to believe that what they are trying to convey is that it has always been the same. What exists now has always existed, etc., etc., etc. And essentially, Source has been, it has already been everything that it would like to be, and all that stuff. Ooh, my brain is already fried after reading that. Next chapter, actually, if I can get a quick sneak peek. Next chapter is chapter 5, entitled, come on, book. So it's going to be entitled The Mental Universe. This one should be a very interesting one. If I can keep my word. Let me see how long this one is. This book is very flimsy. I can't even flick the pages. Oh, it's not a really long chapter at all. Yeah, so if I can keep my word, we'll probably have this up here on the channel. Probably Sunday. It'll be very late Sunday evening. Either very late Sunday evening or Monday evening is what I'm going to aim for. I would like to do a reading up on this channel at least once a day, if I can, for the next couple weeks, since I will have a little bit more time to focus on this sort of stuff. So that is going to be what I'm primarily going to try to be doing. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed the reading for today. If you have any discussions or any comments, anything that stood out to you, anything you would like to make known to me, feel free to comment those in the comments below. I check all the comments. So yeah, that would be much appreciated. You could drop a like on the video if you enjoyed the reading as well. But most importantly, if you haven't subscribed, make sure you do that so you could stay up to date with all the new readings and all the new video topics and stuff that I'm going to be doing in the near future here. Just really trying to find the time to get around to doing everything, and I don't want my thoughts to be as a jumbled mess as when I'm going over things that stuck out to me in reading. So I got to make sure for those topic videos that I at least have some notes compiled, so it's not a huge rant fest. But yeah, don't want you guys to miss out on all of that. But that's going to do it for me today. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your energy. And I will see you guys in the next video, the next reading, hopefully very soon. Take care.